A loss for Red Star in the 171st Eternal Derby, Belgrade Derby, by a score of 2-1 to Partizan. Partizan's first win in the Derby since, I believe, 2018. Gonna get into the match right away. A lot of news regarding Red Star going forward. With the starting lineups, I think it's what everyone pretty much predicted. I thought that Bahar might throw a curveball and play with three at the back. He didn't do that, at least not right away. He did it in the second half. But he decided to go with four at the back. What looked like was a 4-2-3-1, I guess, formation. Gonna get into the goals right away. A lot of chances for Red Star, first of all, in the first half. Enough opportunities for Partizan as well, I have to say. And this was, if you're a neutral, this was probably one of the better derbies that we've seen in the last, I would say, 4 or 5 years. Like, easily, I would say. A lot of chances, three goals we haven't seen in a while. Um, So if you're the neutral fan, you probably enjoyed watching this. If you're a Red Star fan, not so much. Going to get into the first goal right away. Uh, Kind of a broken play from Partizan where the ball looked like he was going out for a corner kick, and Stojkovic looked like he's Partizan's right back. He looked like he was just trying to protect the ball, so no other player would kind of get near it, and that he would go out for a corner kick. And Ode just came through with a slide tackle and completely wiped him out. The penalty wasn't given right away. It went to a VAR first, and then it was given as a penalty, but a clear-cut penalty. I have no idea what Rodic was doing, committing a foul like that. It's just nonsense, and there's no need for it, especially at that point in the game where it looked like things were starting to swing in Red Star's favor a little bit. But I mean, just a stupid mistake to make, and that's kind of like what we got out of it. Not no problem disposing of the penalty. Like I said, the Rodic thing, he's a veteran player who's been on this team for 6, 7 years. He can't commit a mistake like that. Like if that was Kosta Nedeljkovic, who's 17 or 18 years old, you live with it because he's a kid. And if you remember back when Irakovic first played in the Derby, he made a crucial mistake as well, where he gave the ball away. And I don't think that Partizan scored on it. It was basically a one-on-one with the goalkeeper. I think it was might have been Lazar Markovic with Milan Borjan. Luckily, he didn't score from him, but he grew from then on. So if it was Kosta Nedeljkovic, I wouldn't mind it at all. The second goal in the second half, two things stood out the most, and I don't know if either one's been talked about. First of all, you don't make a defensive substitution on the opponent's corner kick. That's one of the worst things that you can do. So now you're taking out a defensive player. In this case, it was Kosta Nedeljkovic, if I'm not mistaken. You're bringing in another player who has to defend right away within 5 seconds of coming on. So that's the first mistake that you made. Um, the goal didn't result from the substitution being made or the player having anything to do with the goal, but that's just something that you don't do, and that's something that you learn probably in coaching school right away. The same way that I've pointed out here before, my father used to yell at me when I used to turn my back to the ball when someone was taking a shot and I would jump and turn my back. He always used to tell me the ball's not going to kill you, son. The ball's not going to kill you. It might hurt for a little bit, but it's not going to kill you. Stay on your feet and don't turn away because you have no idea what's happening behind you. And that's the same thing with this. I can't believe that a manager would make a mistake like that. Second mistake is Glazer clearing the ball right to the Partizan player, who took it basically in stride. Zahid, who laid it off phenomenally for Saldana, who slotted it into the back of the goal. I mean, just a nightmare from the manager and the goalkeeper. Now, let me remind you, Omri Glazer has been pretty good for Red Star this season since he's come from the Israeli league. He's brought in because he's good with his feet. He's shown me anything but that since he's been here. Anything but that. And I mean, it's been brutal. I criticize Milan Borjan. I've said the last year and a half, I don't know what's gotten into him that he's not dealing with the ball the way that he should. And this has kind of translated into Glazer making the same mistakes. Uh, Opportunities piled up for Red Star. They got a goal off Bukhari with an excellent solo play and whipping across the goal. I still have no idea who scored it. I assume it was Sheriff NDI, that was his first goal in the domestic league. I assume it was him, although it could have been Kata as well. So I'm not too sure about that. But at 2-1, Red Star still had multiple chances. Jovanovic made a few brilliant stops for Partizan. So in my opinion, I thought he was the man of the match for them and well deserved. And all in all, Partizan deserved to win. Listen, they scored 2 goals. They took their chances. Plus, they could have scored probably another 2 or 3. This could have been a derby that finished maybe 4-3 easily. It didn't, but there was that many opportunities. And then when Nikolic had a bunch in the second half when he came on, and I just think that there's way too much talking from Red Star players prior to the match. Osman Bukhari saying this should end in a 3-0, 4-0 drubbing of Partizan. Marko Stamenic saying that Partizan gets the benefit of the whistle from the referees. Like, I don't want to hear about that. Marko Stamenic right now, isn't even good enough to get minutes for Red Star. So I don't like players talking who don't even play that much as of right now. Bukhari shouldn't have said what he said, which is very stupid. You don't want to give the opposition even more ammunition heading into the derby. And I'm a firm believer. I always say this: there's no favorites in the derby. Like there's no favorites like a team that's going to win it. Partizan's completely out of form. In the last 3 or 4 matches, they ended up winning. Red Star's been playing a lot better the last 2 or 3 matches, and they ended up losing. There's literally no favorites. I remember back to 2011 and 12 when Red Star was at the bottom, and Partizan had Alexander Mitrovic and Lazar Markovic and a bunch of other players, and we ended up beating them. So it just there's no favorites, and especially a derby match, there's absolutely no favorites. And we just didn't do our job, and now we're second in the table, 2 points behind Partizan. Barak Bakar, from what I've read so far after the match, has been sacked, and it looks like Vladan Milic will take over as the next manager. I'll probably do a video about that tomorrow, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of cut it short today. And there's a lot of Katai's miss in the 98th minute, which is the last kick of the match. uh, Jean-Philippe Crasso did an excellent job to get by the defender, kind of similar to what Bukhari did on the first goal, and he just kind of whipped it in, and Katai headed it over the goal, but you bank on him to score that. And Katai had a few misses today. He could have scored 2 or 3. Mijatovic scoring 2 goals, both from offside position. Like, it was very tough. And at that point, I didn't think we were even going to score today. But disappointing. It's very disappointing when you lose to your most hated rival. But it's also disappointing when that rival is now responsible for you sacking your manager. It just looks like it's job accomplished for them both ways. And yeah, that's the match going forward. Mijatovic started this match. I thought that defensively he was good in the first half, but when Kanga came on for Mijatovic at halftime, there was more fluidity offensively going forward. The only problem I'll say is I'm not convinced that Kanga and Huang can play together. They both need the ball. I'm not sure that they can play together at the same time. They, they're just players who both need the ball. And Kanga likes to take his shots and likes the ball at his feet. Fair play to him. But yeah, Huang, and it's very tough with Kanga and Huang out there. And Jean-Philippe Crasso, I thought that play at the end of the match was excellent. What he did, and I'm still not giving up on him. I think he's a decent player. He's just in the doghouse for some reason. He had 2 or 3 matches where he was bad, and he just didn't get playing time after that. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys thought about the 171st Derby, who your man of the match was, and what you expect going into the rest of the season. So thank you guys for listening, and yeah, I'll probably catch up with you guys tomorrow with the news if Bakar is in fact sacked.